Hi, hello. Hi, my name is Christopher Davis, and I'm an ex-Mormon. I first started questioning the church when I was about 12 years old, when I realized that I liked men. At first, it was just sort of like, oh, well, that's weird. You know, suddenly, the reality of the situation creeped in. You know, the more that I went to, men's priesthood meetings, and I was just filled with waves and waves of shame. And I just remember, having to go to the bishop, and one of the things that I'll never forget about my meetings with the bishop, he wouldn't even use the word gay because he was so uncomfortable about it. He would refer to my homosexuality as a tendency, and that was the only word he ever used. How are your tendencies? And I remember having to go to the bishop's office once every month or so. And it got in the way of my whole life. I feared it all the time. Like on Halloween Day, it was weird. We were at trunk or treat, and I had to go in and talk to him for 15 minutes and came out crying. My friends were like, "What's wrong?" And at this point, nobody knew. And it really started to eat away at me. I'd go out into the forest and say, "Please God, take this away from me," just crying. And so not only was I punishing myself, but there was all the really confusing things coming from different directions, like a friend of the family, suggesting that I take, hormone pills to try to fix the problem. And it got to the point where I was absolutely suicidal for years. There came down to one sort of cumulative moment. I was sitting in the car about to go in and work. It was like 104 degrees that day, and I just remember thinking, if I just leave myself in this car right now, if I roll up the windows and fall asleep, there's a chance I might get heat stroke and die. And looking back on it, is probably very unlikely that I would have actually died, but I remember at that point that I was ready. I was absolutely ready. And, I started writing a note to my brothers, and I didn't get past the first sentence, knowing that I couldn't do it because I wrote it to my brothers, and they've always been my support and my, my guidance. And it was them that saved me, ultimately. But that was a big turning point for me because it was like, what the heck? Am I going to stay in this church? Am I going to keep believing these things? Or am I going to kill myself? And it was extremely black and white at that point. I couldn't take it anymore. So I chose to live. And so very shortly after, I met my first boyfriend. And in a moment of rebellion, I posted picture of me and him kissing as my MySpace profile picture. It was a huge ordeal at the time, and it got so much backlash. People that had been dear, close friends to me suddenly alienated, and friends of the family and the church just suddenly disowning me and just basically not who they used to be because I was gonna be myself. In fact, there was this one girl recently, I won't say her name, but I was at work the other day and she just happened to see me on the sidewalk, and she came up to me, she said, "I am so sorry for the way that the community reacted at that time." She says, "We were ignorant and we didn't know how hard it was for you." And that, I just bawled my eyes out when she told me that. It meant a lot to me. So thank you. And I know that the Mormons are great people. I'm still close with a lot of people that are LDS, and my family included. And our differences aside, they mean well, as do pretty much everybody. I used to tell myself and other people that like being gay was like the worst thing that ever happened to me. And looking back, it's absolutely one of the best things that has ever happened to me. My name is Christopher. I am a musician. I am a real estate agent, and I'm an ex-Mormon, and I'm happy about it.
And just some very specific instruction from different church leaders that homosexuality is a struggle. Like, why? Like, can I stop? What happens if I don't?
The internet has literally changed society, and with it, I think it has to change the LDS Church. You can see it already in these PR pieces that they've put out on the internet.
I was gay, and I was scared, and I didn't want to be gay.